have it on Skype or maybe Zoom. So that's how we go about it. So each session with us is like a mock test in itself. Last but not the least, we assure quality. So we are very particular about the quality. So we would be hiring only the trainers who have an experience of at least 2 years, and they should have a minimum of 8 band scores. So that's how we work. And on to your right side of the slide, you can see that there are certain testimonials of the students who have received more than 8,777. So you can have a look at the testimonials on our YouTube videos, on our YouTube channel, and you can also subscribe to it. Okay, so now that you know about me and our channel and what we exactly do, let's move ahead. Okie dokie. So the ones who are new here, who have never taken the test before, or even the ones who have taken the test before but are not sure about what band descriptors are, let me tell you, this is one of the most important documents that you need to be aware of to get your desired band score in your IELTS writing. Yes, this has to be read so that you are showcasing and you are writing what the examiner is looking for in your essay or in your letter. So, okay. So if you guys can see these band descriptors clearly, the first band descriptor here, right here is, let me just start with. Okay, the first band descriptor is task achievement. So everybody can see the slides. Please type a yes if you can. All right, great. So this is task achievement. Let me zoom it a little. Okay, task achievement is your very first parameter. So task achievement or task response is basically a parameter in which the IELTS examiner is checking whether you are adhering to what the task is asking you to do. So there are 4 parameters. The first one is task achievement or task response. The second one is coherence or cohesion. The third one is lexical resources. And the last one that we have is your grammatical range and accuracy. So these are the 4 parameters on which you will be assessed, and to know how to score better in these, you need to know what each of them mean and how you can enhance your scores in each one of them. So the first and foremost parameter is task achievement. Let's have a close look at it, what this parameter basically is and what are we going to do to improve our scores in this. So let's have a look at the 6 band score. Why do we end up getting 6 or 6.5 in our writing? What's the issue? Why do we get stuck at 6.5? So probably we're making the mistakes that are mentioned in this particular box. Okay, so task achievement, it says that you do not address the requirements of the task. So the task or the question is basically asking you to do something, okay? The essay question is asking you to tell the answer to a particular question. There could be 3 questions, 2 questions in your essay, and you have to answer to each and every question. There could be a general statement in your question. There could be a specific statement in your question. So you have to talk about both of them by keeping the balance. So basically, they are checking whether you're meeting the requirements of the task. Are you answering what the question is asking or not? Next is presents a purpose that is generally clear. So it's generally clear if you're scoring a 6 band score. However, there are inconsistencies in tone. What do you mean by inconsistencies in tone? So basically, you're not very sure about your opinion. Sometimes you're agreeing, sometimes you're disagreeing. You're not very sure about your stance. You're not very sure about what you feel and what you think. So that is one mistake that students make in this parameter, which is task achievement, and that's the reason you end up scoring less in your writing. The third one, the third bullet point is presents and adequately highlights key features. So you highlight key features pretty well and bullet points, But, this is important, but, still there's a but. Details may be irrelevant, inappropriate, or inaccurate. So what is missing is the accuracy, the relevance, and the appropriateness. So you might be writing the ideas or the answers from your perspective that are correct, but they are not accurate. It's not exactly what the question is asking. You probably are deviating from the topic. You're going off track. So that is something that we need to avoid to increase our score in this particular parameter. Okay, so these are the mistakes that you make, and that's the reason you end up scoring a 6-band score. Okay, now let's see what you have to do to score a 9-band score. Okay, this is what you have to do ideally. So it's okay if you can't follow it, but we should strive to follow it. We should try to do our best to fulfill these requirements, because your examiner or your assessor is going to check you on these things. Are you fulfilling these things? If yes, then you will be scored 9. If not, you will be scored lower than that. Okay, so you can take a screenshot of this slide, or you can just download it from the internet and read each and every parameter properly once the webinar is done, so that you have some clarity and you understand what kind of mistakes you have been making so far. Okay, so what needs to be done? Number 1, you have to fully satisfy all the requirements of the task. All the requirements means all the questions that have been asked to you, you have to answer to them. You have to tell each and everything very clearly. Okay. Second one is clearly presents a fully developed response. So you need to elaborate your response properly. You need to tell your ideas in a detailed manner. Do not write bullet points. Do not write half sentences. Do not leave it on the reader to assume things. Okay, you need to be very clear about what you want to say. Do not write half sentences, such thinking that the examiner or the reader would understand what you are trying to say. Okay, so in this case, I usually recommend that you think of the reader as a stupid person, in the sense that he or she might not be aware of what you're trying to say or what your idea is. So you need to elaborate it, support it with examples or surveys, and write it in a detailed manner. Okay, it has to be detailed. Okay, so if you cover all the tasks, and if you explain your ideas in a clear manner, and also use examples, in that case you have to basically focus on your task response, and that's how you'll score better. Okay, coming back to the next one, which is coherence and cohesion. Let me zoom in. Okay, so coherence and cohesion, let's go back to the 6-band parameter. So here, what do you mean by coherence and cohesion? Coherence basically means how well you have sequenced your ideas, how logical your ideas are, and are they organized properly, or are they written in a very haphazard manner? Okay, it should not be haywire, like you're writing something in the first point, then you're writing something else in your second point. It should be very concrete and streamlined. Okay, number 1 is that. What about cohesion? Cohesion is how well you connect different paragraphs to each other, how you connect different sentences to each other. Is there proper connection or not? So linking words basically help you in improving your cohesion. So let's see the mistakes you make if you end up scoring 6 bands in coherence and cohesion. The first bullet point says you arrange information and ideas coherently. So that's good. You're arranging information and ideas in a coherent manner, which is good. And there's a clear overall progression. So overall progression from one point to another is also clear. So what is wrong? But you use cohesive devices within the sentence or between sentences in a faulty or mechanical manner. So maybe the usage of linking words, if you guys don't know what linking words are, they're basically moreover, however, furthermore, nevertheless, in addition to. So these are some of the linking words. If you use them in a faulty manner, if you use them incorrectly or inaccurately where this not needed, maybe however was needed, but you have written moreover, so that's incorrect. So if you have written it in a faulty manner or in a mechanical manner. What do we mean by mechanical? That you have kind of mugged up. That first connector that I'll use would be moreover. The second connector I would use would be furthermore. So if it's mechanical, the examiner would end up understanding that it's mechanical. So you need to avoid that as well. May not always use referencing clearly or appropriately. So referencing basically means using pronouns it, they. So these are called referencing. When you're referring to the same thing that you've mentioned before, it's called referencing, and that is also not clear or appropriate. So these are the mistakes that you make, and that's the reason you end up scoring 6 bands. Now, what should be done? Okay, what's the right method of scoring better in coherence and cohesion? So you use cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. It's not faulty. So it's not faulty or mechanical, and it's very smooth and it's not attracting any attention. It seems natural. Okay, and next is skillfully manages paraphrasing or paragraphing, sorry. Skillfully manages paragraphing basically means how well you're paragraphing your ideas or your essay. So you need to be very skillful while doing it, and someone asked whether we can write 3 paragraphs. For general writing, should we write 3 paragraphs only? This is asked by Bhagwant. So Bhagwant, I haven't ever seen an essay or written an essay which has 3 paragraphs. It's always 4 paragraphs, introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and then the 4th one is your conclusion. So I hope your doubts are clear. Okay. Next up is lexical resources. Yeah. So lexical resources would be, the 6-band score says that, if you look here, uses an adequate range of vocabulary for the task. So your range of vocabulary is adequate, it's decent, but it can be better. Okay, it can be better. So it's just adequate range for the task, and attempts to use less common vocabulary. You attempt to use less common vocabulary, you're trying your best, but you are using it with some inaccuracy. You're not using it in the right context, or you're not using it sufficiently, so that's something that you're making a mistake in. Then comes make some error in spelling. Spellings are very important, and or word formation, but they do not impede communication. So it's like you're making spelling mistakes, but they're not that bad that the reader cannot understand it. It's decent. So that's what they're saying. And Bhagwant has asked something in general training, 4 paragraphs must. Yes, Bhagwant, in general training and academic, in any essay, 4 are must. Okay. Okay, Kempana has asked introduction, advantage. Okay, yeah, more or less, yeah, this is how you have to write it. But I recommend writing 2 points, so that's fine. And you don't have to write example after each point. It's only written if it's needed, okay? Otherwise, you don't have to write it. Okay, why can't I have this entire screen? Okay. All right, so for a 9-band score, you have to use a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control of lexical features. Rare minor errors occur only as slips. So what they're trying to say is, if you use adequate range, okay range, in that case, you are getting a 6-band score. However, if you use a wide range of vocabulary, you end up scoring 9. And let me tell you one thing, For vocabulary, you do not have to use complicated words. It's not needed. You do not have to use complicated words, Shashi Tharoor level words, PhD level words. You do not need to use all of that. You just have to use different words. The focus is on wide range. Okay, you can use simple words, you can use normal words that are not used commonly. However, they should be different. So try not to repeat words again and again. Then they say that rare minor errors occur only as slips. So if you're making any errors with respect to the spelling or word formation, those are just rare and considered as slips, because all of us are human and we can make silly spelling mistakes, which completely fine under a stressful situation of a test. Okay, so let's move on to grammatical range and accuracy, which is your fourth and the final parameter on which the examiner would be basically assessing you on. So you would get a 6-band score if you are using a mix of simple and complex sentences and make some errors in grammar and punctuation. So punctuation is also very important. Where do you have to put a comma? Where do you have to put a full stop? How do you have to use all these punctuations? These are actually crucial, because if you don't use punctuations correctly, it might change the meaning of the question. Okay, and what needs to be done to get 9 or probably 8? So I'll read 8 for this one. Uses wide range of structures. Range of structures basically means you use simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences. Now I agree that I will not be able to cover up all of these different types of sentences right now, but we do that in our one-to-one classes. So if you want a very detailed version of these, you can join our classes, you can enroll into them. And the majority of sentences are error-free. So you need to be conscious about not making errors. Makes only very occasional errors or inappropriacies. Okay, so these are the things that you have to take care of, and if you understand these things, you will more or less score above 7. Okay, any questions with respect to this slide alone? So far, whatever we have discussed, any questions? Bhagwant, these words are fine, but I'm not getting your question exactly. You can use these words depending upon their utility in the essay topic. Anybody else who has a question? Yeah, that's fine, Bhagwant. All right, let's move ahead now. Why do most of you get stuck at 6.5 in writing? So a lot of you guys, I'm pretty sure, are scoring decently well in the other 3 modules, but when it comes to the writing module, somehow you end up getting 6.5 or maybe even 6. So I have come up with a few reasons that I have figured out as a trainer, and I have analyzed almost 500 plus students only for writing, and I can easily tell you that this is one, I mean, you would be making a mistake in one of these bullet points that you end up scoring 6.5 in your writing. So let's discuss why you end up scoring 6.5. So not following parameters. We discussed 4 parameters, and I'm pretty sure you are messing up in one of the 4 parameters or all of them, and that's the reason you end up being here. Let me tell you one thing that you guys might not be aware of. So if you get 6 in any of the parameters, okay, if you get 7 in all, then you get 7 bands in writing. But if you get 6 in any one of the parameters, your score would drop down to 6.5. Now you understand the importance of parameters. If you scored lesser in any one of the parameters, you would end up scoring 6.5 in your overall writing. What does this mean? This means that you have to pay attention to each of the parameters: task response, coherence, cohesion, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy equally, because each of these parameters carry a weightage of 25%. So if you score 6 in any of these parameters, your score drops down to 6.5, which is something we do not require or we do not want to go through. So please, please, please focus on all the 4 parameters. But my analysis is that the ones who are scoring well in listening, reading and speaking, let's say you're scoring 9 in listening, 8 in reading, and somewhere around 7 or 7.5 in speaking. In that situation, I have observed that your task response or your coherence and cohesion have some issue. Okay, so the problem lies in these 2 parameters. Okay, this is the first one. Second is not adhering to the word limit. Now the word limit is asking you to write 250 words and you're writing 249 words, 248 words or 245 words, and that is going to penalize you. Okay, they will penalize you and your scores would drop. So what you have to do is you have to write a minimum of 250 words in case of your essay, and in case of your letter you have to write a minimum of 150 words, which basically means that if you write lesser than 250 words in case of your essay and lesser than 150 words in case of your letter, what happens is that you would be penalized and you would not score 7 in your writing. So ensure that you write enough. The next mistake that most students do is that they do not practice under time pressure. So practicing under time pressure or under test-like circumstances is very important. When you're practicing at home, what you have to do is you have to time yourself for 40 minutes for your essay and about 20 minutes for your letter. Time yourself, keep a stopwatch, ask your parents, ask your relatives, ask your siblings to just come and tell you when 1 hour is done, so that you understand how much you can write, what is your speed, are you able to manage writing 150 plus 250 words in 1 hour or not. So it's really, really important that you practice under test-like circumstances. When I'm saying test-like circumstances, I'm basically trying to tell you that you should not be distracted. You should be in a quiet environment. You should not be in front of people. There should not be any disturbance. Nobody should enter your room or leave your room. It should be just like an exam situation. And you should also be very serious in that 1 hour. Don't take it lightly. So that's the next tip that I would want to give you. And you're not familiar with different types of questions. It's very important to know how to attempt discuss both sides, how to attempt advantages, disadvantages, how to go about writing what is your opinion or give your opinion questions. So somebody asked how to start. Manpreet Kaur asked how to start different kinds of essays like discussion, agree or disagree essays. So this will also be taken up in detail during your one-to-one classes, but I'll still try to cover it during the webinar, because if I tell you about everything, then this class will take, or this webinar will take approximately 3 hours. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you guys do not want to waste your weekend on 3 hours class with me. Right? So, yeah. Okay, Simi is asking how much can we exceed word count? So, exceeding word count depends upon 2 things. Number 1 is your time. So, you have to write in the time limit. Okay, you don't have enough time, you just have 1 hour to write approximately 400 words, right? So I would recommend that you wind up your essay within 270 words. At max you can write 270 words. Do not write 300 words, 400 words. That is just going to decrease the quality of your essay. Okay, so we do not want to write 300 or 400 words. Please do not do that. Wind up by 270 words, and in case of your letter, wind up by maximum 170 words, because we don't have enough time. Plus, the more you write, the more chances of making a mistake. So we don't want to make a mistake. Plus, let quality be more than the quantity. Reduce the quantity to 250, 255, or maximum 260, and try to increase the quality of your essay as well as of your letter. So I hope I've clarified your doubts, Simi. Yes, Bhagwan, that's supposed to be concise and clear without any confusion and without any mistakes, basically. Okay, and Bhagwant has also asked how to judge its Fun 15 Task 1 and 250 in Task 2. That's the reason I'm asking you to practice under time pressure and under exam-like circumstances. If you're taking the computer-delivered test, in that case, you don't have to worry because there will be a word count at the end of the screen, so you can easily assess or figure out how many words you have written. However, in case of the paper-based test, what you have to do is you have to practice at home on a sheet of paper, and then you will have a fair enough idea that in one sentence you're writing 10 words or 8 words, and then you can figure out how many sentences you're writing. So you have a fair enough idea or an estimate as to how many words you've written. So you just have to multiply the words in the first line with the number of sentences. You don't have to count each and every word. That is a wrong strategy. Instead of counting words, what you can do is you can proofread your essay and you can make changes and edit the mistakes. Okay? Is that clear? And the most important problem of all, this is the most important problem, not taking feedback from a reliable source. So what you're doing is you're not taking feedback from a reliable source. I'll give you an example. There's this student who, before joining classes with us, was taking the feedback from a PhD in English. Now, a PhD in English does not know what are the requirements for the IELTS test. That is known by an IELTS trainer or an IELTS examiner, but he or she might be a professional or a doctorate in the English language. However, how to deal with an essay in your IELTS test, that is something that an IELTS trainer can only tell you. Okay, so do not ask your English teachers or your friends who have done their PhD or masters in English. You need to take the feedback from a reliable source. Okay, so that's important. And also another very important thing is that do not practice 50 essays. Practice 10, 15, 20 essays at max, but take the feedback for each and every essay. Okay, take the feedback for every essay and try to improve on that feedback. That should be your agenda. So this is the most important point. What students do is that they would write 50 essays, but they would never get it evaluated from anyone. If you don't get it evaluated from anyone, you would never know what your mistakes are. You would never know where you're going wrong. In fact, what will happen is you will end up making the same mistakes over and over again. So we don't want that to happen. So what we do is we would approach a trainer. You can come to us. We are more than happy to train you guys. So if you have any doubts, you can get your writings evaluated from us. You can take the one-to-one course and we'll help you out by giving you feedback on a daily basis and helping you improve. Okay, so Bhagwant, I'm so sorry. I don't agree with the trainer that you're talking about. So 3 paras make no sense. It's incorrect according to me, and you can cross-check it with her. So she probably was saying something else and probably you did not understand it properly. Okay, so yeah, cross-check that. So these are the reasons why I personally think that you are getting stuck at 6.5. So ensure that you're not making these mistakes. You have to focus on your task response, your coherence cohesion, follow the word limit, practice under time pressure, take the test under test-like circumstances, get familiar with different types of questions, and take the feedback from a reliable source so that they can guide you in the right direction and they do not mislead you or misguide you unknowingly. And for that, as I mentioned earlier, we are here to help you out, and that's why we are going to be your source of guidance. Okay, let's move ahead. Any questions so far? Anything that you guys would like to ask? Yes, yes, Kepana. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but yes, you're right. And irrespective is one word, there's no hyphen in between. You're welcome. Pratik, you can enroll into our course. We'll be typing the phone number on which you can connect to us, and you can send us your questions. I mean, you can send us your writings, your essays and letters, and we can evaluate it. We offer one-to-one personalized guidance course, which means one trainer is assigned to you throughout your course, and he or she will help you in the journey of improving in the IELTS test. So they'll be helping you out with each and everything, with guiding you for the writing, listening, reading, speaking, everything, giving you feedback on a daily basis. Each session with us is a mock test, and we would review what you have written and we'll give you the feedback, and your duty is to improve upon that feedback, implement that feedback, and get better each and every day. Yes, Manpreet, that's the next thing that we're going to do. I know you're very eager. We can't do both the things. We'll be focusing on essay today. Okay, so live evaluation of an essay. So we also asked our students, basically not students, the ones who registered for the webinar, to send an essay question that would be evaluated live during the webinar. So this is an essay that's sent to us by a student. Okay, so the question is, computers are being used more and more in education. Some people say that this is a positive trend, while others argue that it is leading to negative consequences. Discuss both sides of this argument. Okay, so now this is the question, and let me know what we have to do here. What do you think should be the structure of this question? How should we approach this question? So, Kempana, the thing is that you can judge whether the essay belongs to opinion, advantage, disadvantage, problem solution, discussion by reading this last sentence. So here it says discuss both sides of this argument. So this question is basically asking you to discuss both these sides. So one side is asking you to talk about the positive trend. The other side is asking you to talk about the negative consequences. Very good, Kempana. That's exactly how you have to approach this. You have to write the introduction. Then you have to write the paragraph 1, body paragraph 1, in which you would give the positives. Then you have to write the body paragraph 2, in which you have to give the negatives, and then you have to give the conclusion. Simi, that's also correct. Very good. Okay, do we have to give our opinion in this question? Do we have to tell whether advantages are more, disadvantages are more, or do we have to tell the opinion? Read the question one more time and tell me, should we give the opinion? Kempana, good. Manpreet, good. No, that's the answer. The question is not asking for your opinion. If the question ended with discuss both sides of this argument and give your opinion, bear me for my bad handwriting, opinion. All right. If the question was this, in that case alone you had to give your opinion. In this case, you do not have to give your opinion. Is everyone clear? Bhagwant, perfectly fine. It's supposed to be only pros and cons. Very good, very good, very good. Simi says can be neutral in opinion. Opinion is not required, Simi. I hope you have understood. Okay. All right. So how do we approach this question? So step 1 is to read the question 5 times. You have to read the question 5 times. Okay. You have to read the question 5 times, and why? So that we do not deviate from the topic and we ensure that we score good in the first parameter, which is task response. So whenever we are evaluating any essay in our online session, in the paid course or in the one-to-one course, we ensure that we give you feedback on all the 4 parameters that we discussed initially. So the first and the foremost is task response. Okay. And to ensure that you score well in your task response parameter, we would read the question 5 times, and I'll tell you the technique of reading it. Number 1, you read the question very slowly. Okay, read it at this speed. Computers are being used more and more in education. Some people say that this is a positive trend, while others argue that it is leading to negative consequences. This is the speed in which you have to read. Discuss both sides of this argument. This is the first time you read it. Second time when you read it, you have to underline the keywords along with reading it. So you'll say computers are being used more and more in education. Some people say that it is a positive trend. Others think that it's leading to negative consequences. So we have also underlined the keywords. The third time you read it, you would translate it into your mother tongue. So it could be Hindi, Punjabi, Tamil, whatever your mother tongue is, Gujarati. You translate it into your mother tongue or whatever language you're comfortable in. So in this case, I'll be saying, since my mother tongue is Hindi, I'll be saying computers बहुत ज़्यादा use हो रहे हैं education में. इसलिए आपको बताना है that whether it's a positive trend, कुछ लोगों को लगता है ये positive trend है और कुछ लोगों को लगता है ये negative है. And हमें बताना है दोनों sides के बारे में. So we have to discuss both the sides. So this is the third time you read it, and the fourth time when you read it, you can read it very quickly, and it could be more like skimming. And if you need, you can also go through it the 5th time. So if you read the question 4 or 5 times, the chances of going wrong in the task response parameter go down. A lot of students make this blunder of reading the question once and quickly going to the introduction. They are in a hurry to write the essay, to start the essay ki time khatam ho raha hai. You know, you don't have to start the essay unless you're clear about the question, because what's the fun of writing an off-topic essay? What's the fun of writing an essay which is not talking about the question that's given to you? So it's important to understand. That's how we will cover the task response. That's the very first thing that we do. Okay? Everybody is clear so far? Then what we do in the one-to-one classes, after understanding the question, we will go on and read each and every sentence of the essay that the student has submitted to us. And that is what we are going to do right now. I am going to evaluate the essay sent by Mahesh to us. He has written this essay and we'll be evaluating it. Okay, and also let me tell you one more thing. This is a webinar and we are short on time, so we'll not be discussing ideas. Otherwise, during our one-to-one sessions, we also have a separate idea generation session. So after we have understood the question, we brainstorm for all the ideas. Okay, how do we think about ideas? What ideas can be written in a question? And we'll discuss all sorts of ideas so that if a similar question also comes in your exam, you can approach it with confidence. Okay, so idea generation is something that we focus on. So everybody who's listening to me right now, if you are struggling with ideas, don't worry, we have a special segment in every session where we discuss ideas. So today, obviously, I'm not going to do that because we are short on time. We'll be just showcasing you how detailed our evaluation is, how well we evaluate each and every perspective of the essay that our students write. We are here to basically guide you in the right manner. Okay, so I'll start by reading each and every line of the essay, and I'll be telling you the main mistakes made by this student in all the 4 parameters. Okay, so everybody is clear with the question? All right. So the first paragraph, which is the introduction, I'll simultaneously be telling you the way to write the introduction. So introduction, basically, if I go back, so I'll just write it here. Introduction has 3 sentences. One is you have to paraphrase the question. The second sentence is the thesis statement, wherein you have to tell your opinion. What do you think? And the third one is your outline sentence. So now, can you guys tell me whether we should write the thesis statement in this question? Is it needed? This is the question. Do we need to write the thesis statement in this question? You write like a doctor. Yeah, I write like a doctor because I'm using a mouse to write right now. But I hope you're understanding what I've written, Bhagwant. If it's not clear, I can write down in the chat box. I have no issues with that. So you have to. Introduction is basically 3 sentences. You have to paraphrase the question, and then the second sentence is the thesis statement, and the third one is your outline sentence. Okay, so these are the 3 sentences. However, in this question, they're not asking for your opinion. So we will not be writing the thesis statement. The thesis statement is not needed in questions that do not ask you for your opinion. Thesis statement have to be written only in the questions that ask you for your opinion. So let's go ahead and see how Mahesh has done it. So let's have a look at his question. Okay, so he has written usage of computers in education is getting increased day by day. Few people believes that this has numerous advantages, while others think it leads to various problems. This essay will discuss about benefits and drawbacks of the above mentioned statement. So if you notice, he has paraphrased the question and then he has written the outline sentence. He has not written any thesis statement, which is perfectly fine. So he's done a good job. Manpreet, thesis statement is the statement that tells you about your opinion. So if you think that you agree to the statement, the thesis statement becomes I completely agree to the statement or I completely disagree to the statement. So this particular statement is called your thesis then. Pratik, paraphrasing is not changing the voice. It's basically changing the wordings of the question by keeping the meaning intact. So the meaning of the question should remain the same. However, you have to change the wording. So you have to rewrite the question in your own words without borrowing the words from the question. All right? Okay, so let's see the mistakes here. Usage of computers in education is getting increased day by day. So how can we modify education? What else can we write instead of education? Any synonym that you guys can suggest me for education? Academic. Learning. Brilliant, Simi. Learning is the word we can use. So we can say usage of computers in learning is getting increased day by day. Or even better way of writing the sentence could be that the usage of these days, the usage of computers in the learning process is increasing on a daily basis. Okay, this is how we can paraphrase. Everybody is agreeing to me? So when we paraphrase, we have to change the keywords into the synonyms and use them. Now there would be certain cases like computers, televisions, in which you cannot really change the word. So we would keep it as it is. Otherwise, we can try changing it by using the word technology. We can also paraphrase this sentence by saying, with the advancement in technology, computers are being used more and more, or computers are being increasingly used in the learning sector or in the learning process. So that's our paraphrased version. And we continue with the next sentence and we say, few people believe that, so believe, S is not needed, okay? Few people believe that this has numerous. Can you notice the mistake here? What's the right spelling of numerous? Yes, you can also use excessively instead of increasingly. Or you can use the numerous. Yes, Simi spelling is correct. So everybody checks Simi spelling. That's numerous. Manpreet, that's not the right spelling. Numerous. All right. So few people believe that this has numerous advantages, while others think it leads to various. What's the spelling of various, guys? Various problems. Good, Simi. Good, Abid. Bhagwant is also right. Manpreet is also right. So various. All right. Problems. Now, tell me the synonyms of positive trend. What else can we write instead of advantages? Can you tell me 2 or 3 more synonyms? Merits, very good. Benefits, positives. Prose is incorrect because it's used in informal English. So you can use it in your spoken English or in your speaking test. Okay, very good, guys. What about problems? Synonyms of problems. Issues, okay. Issues, anything else? Demerits, drawbacks, very good. Okay, so these are the words you can use instead of problems. Good job, guys. So we'll say few people believe that this has numerous advantages, while others think it leads to various problems, issues, drawbacks, challenges. Very good. So these are the way you can paraphrase this sentence. And here you can also, instead of some people, you can use few individuals. Let's not repeat the word people also, since it's given in the question. We can say few individuals, a certain section of the society, or a group of individuals. We can say that. And in case of saying others, we can say while their counterparts. Counterparts means while the opponents. So counterparts, I'll just spell it in the chat box. It's counterparts. Okay. All right. Then comes the outline sentence. From here till here was your paraphrasing. Then we come to the outline sentence. This essay will discuss about here you can add about both the benefits and drawbacks of the above mentioned statement, or you can say that this essay will discuss both the perspectives. You don't have to repeat yourself. You don't have to write benefits, drawbacks again and again. That's kind of repeating yourself. You can simply say this essay will discuss both the perspectives. When we're saying both the perspective, we mean both positive trend and negative consequences. We'll be discussing both the perspectives. Everybody is clear with the introduction? Any doubts? No, you don't have to write and draw conclusion. That's not needed, Kapana. That's not needed. Clear, clear. It's really helpful the way you're teaching. Thank you so much, Bhagwan. All right, moving on to the body paragraphs. Now, how do we write the body paragraph? Just like introduction has 3 or 2 sentences, depending upon whether the question is asking you for the opinion or not. The body paragraphs would include an introductory sentence. I'm just writing it down in the chat box for you. Introductory sentence, then you write your point 1, follow it with the explanation, write the example or survey, okay? And then you have to repeat it with the second point. Okay, so for paragraphs, what you have to do is you write one introductory sentence, you introduce what you're going to talk about, then you write your first idea in which you would state what you think along with its explanation, followed by example or survey. Similarly, you will write your second idea, give some supporting statements for that, and give one example or survey depending upon what you have in mind. So this is supposed to be the structure for both your body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. All right, let's see how Mahesh has done it, how our student has done it. So he has written, it has various benefits. So this is what is called the introductory sentence. Okay, this is the introductory sentence. It has various benefits. So basically, by writing this sentence, we have made it clear to the reader that now you're going to talk about the advantages. Okay, that's the first thing. Then you start with firstly and you give your first point. So this is called a connector. Firstly is telling us that the person who's written this essay is talking about the first idea. And he's saying it has enormous information available across the globe. So this is a very half sentence. It's not very clear. So what we write is, we will write, it provides, here it refers to computers. We'll say it provides enormous information at the click of a button. At the click of a button, you get so much of information through search engines such as Google. So this becomes a beautiful sentence, right? You're giving examples, you've given explanation, you have written it very clearly. So firstly, it provides us with abundance of information with just a click of a button through search engines such as Google. Full stop. This becomes a beautiful sentence, beautiful point, which will fetch you full marks. Okay. Then you can write, some example or survey if needed, but this point is good enough. Let's see what he's written after that. He's written for example, and here there's supposed to be a comma. So we have to be careful about the punctuations as well. For example, one can access the data stored, which is stored in anywhere. In is not required, which is stored anywhere around the world. Off is incorrect, we'll write around. Around, okay? Around the world. So this is his first point. I've made the corrections. I hope you guys heard it carefully. So that's how you have to frame the first point. Second point. Secondly, scope of learning improved. Yet again, it's a half sentence. It's not conveying properly what he's trying to say. So we'll improve it. Let's see what he's trying to say. A person who is living in India, I has to be capital. So all these tiny things are what we take care of during our one-to-one sessions as well. We are very minute and particular while correcting every essay. A person who's living in India can watch the content and learn the cooking style of a Mexican cuisine. So he's used a good word here. His vocabulary is decent. Thirdly, so let's first focus on the second point. So this is a good connector. His cohesion and coherence, I would say, is good. And he's written scope of learning improves. So it's supposed to be improves, ES. So here we can say the scope of learning improves, and you can learn anytime, anywhere. Okay. So now you can open YouTube when you're when you're, commuting from one place to another, not really when you're driving, that's distraction. So when you're in a public transport or when you're in a cab, you can watch videos on YouTube, on Udemy, Byju's, and whatever other platforms that are offering online content. So you can learn on the go. You can learn at any time of the day, at 3 a.m. in the morning, at 10 p.m. at night. So you can basically get the flexibility of timing. So you can say, secondly, it allows an individual to learn anywhere, anytime at his own flexibility, comfort, and convenience. So flexibility, comfort, convenience, these are the three good words that you can use in this sentence. And then you can give an example. For example, a person living in India can learn from these videos how to cook a Mexican cuisine. Am I clear? So we have made slight changes in his point. We have made it a little elaborate. That is what is needed in your task response. They want you to elaborate your points with supporting ideas and give proper examples, appropriate examples, and answer what the question is asking you to answer. All right. Next, let's see his third point. Now, I don't recommend writing 3 points. I recommend just writing 2 points in every body paragraph. So still, since he has written the third point, I'll just discuss it. His written cost of education got reduced. So it's not supposed to be in the past tense. It's still happening. So you can say the cost of, first of all. Thirdly, the cost of. So you have to write the. Thirdly, the cost of education has reduced, not got, has reduced. So it's still reduced, right? With the help of technology, comma, one can conduct online classes, it's supposed to be ES, and there is no limit for the enrollment. This results in wide range of audience. Also, it helps to reduce the fees. Now, how many of you can understand this sentence? It's so complicated. It has 3-4 things in it combined together. So I don't feel it's a good sentence. It is very confusing. It's talking about online class, enrollment, fees. So it's very crumbled up, right? It's not very clear. So I'll tell you a better way of writing it. So instead of writing the way he's written, we can improve it by writing, thirdly, listen to me very carefully. Thirdly, with the advancement in technology, one can conduct online classes as there is no limit for the enrollment. Full stop. This results in a wide range of audience. Okay, full stop. This is how you have to write it. So basically, we will be focusing on the fact that because of the improvement in technology, now we can conduct classes online, and therefore there's no limit for the people who can enroll into that class, and this leads to reduced fees. Okay, so this is how you have to write this point. Let's move on. Now you have to write the disadvantages. So despite these pros, so he's used a good connector here. He has showcased that he's moving from positives to negatives. So he's used despite, which is a correct word to be used. You can also use however or in contrast. So you can use these words, okay? And prose is incorrect. As I mentioned, prose is informal. So here you can use the other synonyms that you guys were mentioning. This has few drawbacks. Okay, perfectly fine. He's saying that now this is the introductory sentence. He's saying that now I'm going to discuss the drawbacks. To begin with, it has security issues. So there are security issues and there is a chance of cyber attack, which leads to information theft. Okay, Simi, exactly, you can also use on the contrary. Good. On the contrary is correct. Okay, to begin with, it has security issues. S, okay, and there's a chance of cyber attack which leads to information theft, which is a perfectly correct point, that whatever you're learning or whatever you've uploaded might get lost, or your saved data might get lost. So that is one point. Okay, perfectly fine. Recently, comma, a malware attacked on University of Hyderabad. So University, U has to be capital. Okay, this has to be capital. And a malware cannot attack a university. It cannot attack a building. It would attack your computer network. Okay, malware is going to attack a computer. So you'll say recently a malware attacked the computer system or the network of University of Hyderabad. Okay, which resulted, here it's supposed to be past tense, ed, which resulted in loss of thesis and research papers of the student. IT department, yes, Simi, we can also write IT department. Okay, so this point is fairly well written, though there are a lot of grammatical errors. So GRA has gone for a 6. He will get less marks in grammar because of all the things that he has messed up in. Okay, to continue with, there is scope for fake information. So fake news, fake information, unreliable content. So there's a lot of unreliable content even related to IELTS. So never blindly believe any YouTube channel, any blog post, or any content that you come across on the internet. Everything is not trustworthy. You have to be sure that the source from where you're learning is actually reliable. Okay, so to continue with, here you can also, which connector can be used instead of using to continue with? Any suggestions? Very good, Simi, furthermore. Okay, anybody else? Likewise, apart from, all right. Moreover, additionally, very good. Any other thing? To make it worst, not worst, it would be worse. To make it worse. In addition to, you guys are really intelligent. You know all the connectors. Very good. Good job, everyone. Hence is correct. You won't use hence. To be more precise, that would be if we are talking about the same thing. So we are not going to use to be more precise. That's going to be incorrect. Okay, let's come back here. So we can use simply moreover. Okay, moreover, there is a scope for fake information, or you can say rumors, unreliable content. So you can write all of that here. So here we should be explaining it well. So you can say there is a scope for fake information floating around the internet because of unlimited sharing. What happens is we keep sharing the same message on WhatsApp. So even if we don't know where the source of origination is, we keep sharing it with friends, family members, colleagues, and we don't really realize whether it's true or false. So that's how fake information is spread at a very high rate. So that is something that you can explain how it is getting spread. You can talk about WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and all of those sources. Okay. So a survey conducted by Mumbai University states that the information has 60% accuracy. Yet again, we can write it in a better way. We can say a survey conducted by Mumbai University showcases that number of whenever someone is accessing information online, 90% of the time the information is fake, or you can say 50% of the time the information is inaccurate. So that's how you can write it. And instead of to finish with, you can also write finally, or last but not the least, or you can write furthermore. So you can use these sentences. The interaction with the tutor has certain limits. You can say that because the class is online, it's a recorded lecture. So one-to-one classes, as we offer, it's going to give you two-way interaction. You can also speak in the class. So that is provided in our one-to-one Skype sessions or Zoom sessions. So we can also listen to you. So I speak and you can reply back to me. You can ask questions. So doubt clearance is very easy in our one-to-one classes. However, in case of the recorded videos on YouTube, you are a passive learner. You're not asking questions. At max, what you can do is you can type your content, or type your questions in your comment section. So that's the best you can do. So here, that thing can be mentioned. You can say that the bonding between the teacher and the student is limited. There's no interpersonal relationship with them. And that is something that's the disadvantage of computers in education. Okay, so these are the ways to approach, and this is how we correct every essay and every letter that our students write. So this is just kind of, I've not even gotten into the details right now. I've tried to tell you the overview, because if I go into the details, it will take more time. So I've tried to cover up as many things as I can. Okay, so to conclude it, so let's go on to the conclusion. All right, Hitesh, good job, very good. Okay, any questions with the body paragraphs? Now, I haven't discussed all the ideas yet. Again, we're short on time. Other ideas would be discussed, but right now, these are the ideas that we're going with. In the one-to-one session, it's much more effective, so we end up using more of our brain and thinking about more of ideas. So right now, I'm going to take a pause at this. Let's move on to the conclusion. If you have any doubts, you can simultaneously start typing. Okay, conclusion. So how do you write the conclusion? The only thing in conclusion is that you have to sum up. Sum up without, let me be very clear, I'm writing it in caps lock, without restating your ideas. Okay, sum up without restating your ideas. It should be very crisp and clear. Don't write a long paragraph for your conclusion. It should be maximum 1 or 2 sentences. So let's see what he has done. To conclude, it has both positives and negatives, which is perfectly fine. However, by taking the necessary precautions, these can be overcome. Now, this is incorrect. We'll be saying, however, these can be controlled, tackled, managed, improved, or you can say supervised if proper precautions are taken. So this is how we can end our conclusion. And you guys know that he has written the task responses fairly well. If I have to evaluate this essay, he has talked about the positives properly, the negatives properly. It's just that he hasn't elaborated the points in detail. So that's the only minus in the task response. Grammar, yes, there are multiple mistakes in grammar, in the usage of tenses, articles. So he's made some silly mistakes. When it comes to cohesion and coherence, he's used the connectors correctly, firstly, secondly, thirdly, so he's used it correctly. And when it comes to the last parameter, which is lexical resource, vocabulary. Now I'll show you how the vocabulary goes wrong. He's used information again and again. Information, information. So he can change information. He's used information thrice. Can you notice? 1, 2, and 3. So information has been used thrice. Then he's repeated online and some of the other words as well. So you have to not repeat words. Okay, try not to repeat words, showcase wide range of vocabulary, use better words instead of using the same words again and again. So you need to ensure that you showcase wide range of vocabulary. In that manner, you will be able to score better in this parameter, which is lexical resource. That's how you have to write an essay. So any questions, anything that you want to ask with respect to this particular essay? No, Simi, this conclusion is more than sufficient. You don't have to elaborate it. Manpreet, dear, the thing is that there's no short strategy. Simple sentences are the ones that convey only one thing. Complex sentences are where you are writing one independent sentence and one dependent sentence. So one sentence is dependent on the other. And compound sentences are usually the sentences where you combine two simple sentences with a conjunction like and, for, because, and all of that. Yeah. Okay, so this is how we evaluate the essays in our classes as well. So if you guys were wondering how the essay evaluation would be conducted during the sessions, this is how we precisely do it. Even I would say this is just half of it. We go in further detail. No, Simi, do not use proverbs or saying. You're welcome, Manpreet. Okay, now in case you guys are interested in enrolling into our course, you can go to our website, which is www.prepeve.com, and you can have a look at the courses given there. You can also subscribe to our channel, which is Prep Eve, revolutionizing the way we prepare for IELTS, revolutionizing IELTS. So that's the channel that you have to follow. There is a playlist in which all the different kinds of essay questions have been discussed. You guys can go through that, learn about it, and if you have any doubts, you can leave it in the comment section below. So yes, that's how it is. Okay, Chaitanya is asking, when will IELTS exam start again? About 3 times my exam dates are suspended, so I cancelled my exam. Chaitanya, it would be in August beginning. All right. And then we have Vijaya, who is asking, so we can use all the tenses required for the sentence topic, have asked which can explain in detail. Yes, Vijaya, it's not sentence specific. It's not that you have to follow only one tense. It depends upon what you're trying to convey. You can use future, past, present tense. Any tense can be used. And then we have Mariam. Mariam says, is asking how many paragraphs should be there in both sections. So both sections would be incorrect. I guess you're trying to ask how many paragraphs you have to write in your essay. So you write 4 paragraphs, introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and the last one would be your conclusion. Okay. Then we have Pranshu. She says, ma'am, do you offer writing correction service also? Yes, we definitely do that. And we do that online on a face-to-face session, which is one-to-one, where we would be basically taking your mock test on a daily basis. And that mock test would be evaluating during the one-to-one session, wherein we will be discussing the essays and the letters in a similar manner like we did in today's webinar, today's session. So it's going to be on similar lines where we will be evaluating you on all the 4 parameters. Apart from that, all the other modules are also covered. For listening and reading, our strategy is to basically first figure out what kind of questions you're going wrong in. Is it true, false, not given? Match the headings. Or is it, in case of listening, is it MCQ diagram based? What kind of questions you go wrong in? That's step 1. Step 2 is to figure out why you're going wrong in those questions. Is it lack of understanding, lack of time management, lack of understanding the accent or pronunciation in case of listening? So what's the issue like? So we'll figure out the issue and then we'll give you the strategy. Step 3 is to give you the strategy to solve these problems that you're facing, and step 4 is to solve it in front of you during the one-to-one session, which is for 1 hour. So this is what we precisely do during our course, and we have 2 types of courses. One is for 2 weeks, one is for 1 month, and you can take counseling sessions with us. You can connect with us on a phone call and you can ask which session or which course would suit you better. Usually we recommend the 2-week course for the students who are already scoring around 6.5 and are struggling with only 2 modules, so they can go for the 2-week course. The ones who are struggling with all the 4 modules are suggested that they go for the 1-month course, which has 22 sessions. So we work 5 days a week and we take 1 session every day for 1 hour, and each session is for 1 module. So we basically customize the course according to the needs of the student. We divide the total number of sessions into all the 4 modules and we divide it according to your needs and requirements, keeping in mind your strengths and weaknesses. So it's a highly personalized course, and we would be only focusing on your weaknesses along with focusing on your strengths in such a manner that we only brush up them. So if I give you an hypothetical, sorry, if I give you an example, it would be something like this. In case you are scoring, let's say, 6 in your writing, 7 in your speaking, 7 in your listening, and about 7.5 in your reading, what we will do is we will give you 10 sessions or 12 sessions for writing, 5 to 6 sessions for your speaking, 5 sessions for your listening, and 3 sessions for your reading. This is just an example. We would understand your requirement and accordingly make the changes in our course. So our course is highly customized. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. So Shweta is asking, I got 6 in writing and speaking. I want to know what was the mistake. Can I get my booklets? Shweta, you can enroll into the course and we'll get into the details of what your mistakes were and how you can overcome those. Krishna, the one-to-one training includes all the modules. Vijaya, I just answered your question. I hope I'm not too late in answering it. All right. Okay. You guys are really smart. So the contact number is given in your chat box. You can have a look at it and contact us. Are you in Canada? Yes, we are based both in India and Canada. So we offer classes all around the world. So if you guys want to know, we have offered classes to students in UAE, Saudi, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA, Ecuador, India, obviously, and Pakistan, Afghanistan. So there are people from all across the globe that are taking our classes. And to the ones who are asking about the uh, test, so there's a student of mine who's taking her test tomorrow in British Columbia. So she's in Surrey, I guess. She's in Surrey and she's taking her test in Vancouver. So the tests are being conducted in British Columbia. However, in Ontario right now, as far as my students are concerned, their tests are being postponed. So that's the situation in Canada. And in case of India, I've already told that it's most likely to resume back in August. Mariam is asking if my word count is less than the required by 10 words, would I lose marks? Yes, you would lose marks even if it's one word lesser than 250 words. So you have to write more than or at least the minimum requirement. Thank you so much, Arjun. If you found the session informative, thank you so much. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. And I'll be writing the websites. Yeah. So this is our website. For all the people, prepeve.com, and we'll be posting our numbers as well here. So let me just type it. 1 second. All right. So this is our Canadian number. And this would be our Indian number. So you guys can contact us on any of these. And thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Manpreet. I'm glad that you found it wonderful and you found it informative. That's great. Thank you so much. Please let us know when will be the next session. Abid, we are not planning another session anytime soon. If we do, we'll let you know. Till then, keep watching our YouTube channel. I'll also share the link of our YouTube channel if you guys are not already watching it or if you have not yet subscribed to it. So it's important that you guys do that. So the ones who are not aware of our channel, let me just send you the link. So there are a number of playlists on the channel. You can watch all the playlists, get detailed information about each and every module. There's a reading playlist, there's a writing playlist, there's a live session playlist in which all the questions, all the different types of questions have been discussed in detail. So you can also watch those playlists, and that will definitely help you out a lot. Okay, Simi, you're welcome. I'm more than happy. Okay, so I took some good tips from this session. Thank you so much. I am in Canada and my exam is on 21st June. I'm a Canadian experienced guy with 2 years of valid work permit, need 6.5 in all sections. All the very best. Kempana, and if you need any one-to-one guidance from us, you can get in touch on the phone numbers given below, and we will be more than happy to guide you and make you score your desired band scores and get your Canadian PR as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Bhagwan Singh. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. Last 2 minutes, any questions, any doubts? Okay. Neha, you're most welcome. Arjun, you can visit our website, call on the numbers given, and all the very best for your test. We hope you get your desired band scores. Okay, Hitesh is saying, can you conduct live session for reading module about yes, no, not given? So we already have a playlist, and you can subscribe to our channel and watch that playlist. It will help you out. Okay, if you need any more details for the session or for the fees, you can have a look at the website and you can get in touch with us. I am planning to wind up this session. Thank you so much, Hitesh, Mariam, and Krisham. Thank you so much, everyone. Neha, Manish. You guys are really kind for joining us, and I'm so happy that you liked it. And yes, Abid, we are dealing with immigration to Canada as well. Prateek, you're most welcome. All the very best. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck. Take care. Good day. Bye-bye.